Now, as I have admitted many a time in the past, I am 100,000% confident that even if you were to give me 5 years of training under the best artistic teachers out there, and then enough raw prep time to make Batman blush, and then proceed to give me every last advantage I could possibly have, I still believe wholeheartedly, without a shadow of a doubt within my heart of hearts, that I would not be as good as an artist as Horikoshi was in Chapter 1 of Ogunamaki Zoo. However, I feel like I am fully within my rights as a viewer to ask from the bottom of my heart, Horikoshi, what the heck is this? Thank you to our $5 patron, Sinus Lancelot, and a big thank you to our $25 patron, the Mr. Greed. Before I open this review of chapter 342 of My Hero Academia, please do me a favor, leave your own on the chapter in the comment section down below, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, make sure that little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come with the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below, and I'd appreciate any support you're willing to give. Now, let's get into it. What's up, guys? I got a pencil here, and here we are to chapter 342 of My Hero Academia, aka The Calm Before the Storm, aka, yeah, it's literally just that. Like, I can't even think of a more appropriate name other than, like, I don't know, resolutions for war, or like, I'm trying to think of like an alliteration name, but I can't even think of that off the top of my head. Hold on, give me 1 second. Break before battle. There we go. That's the only thing I can think of. Even then, that sounds more corny than Calm Before the Storm. But regardless of that, I like the chapter. Let's hop right into it. So open up, and we get to see we're at UA Emergency Living Quarters, and like, it's amazing how big UA is, right? Like, I mean, I know it's not all inside the school building, right? Like, we see the school building in the background, but for emergency living quarters, like, they have whole apartments set up. They have this amazing setup for a whole bunch of people. Like, it literally looks like an actual livable community. So honestly, after this mess is done, shoot, like, I wouldn't mind living behind UA. Seems like a nice safe spot to live. It seems like a really cool space. But of course, not all can be good in the land of heroes and villains, because we get to see this one dude who reminds me of, ironically enough, he looks like both a Fire Emblem character and a manga character. And I believe the Fire Emblem character I'm thinking of is Berkut from Fire Emblem Echoes, his redesign in that game. And also, he looks like Mash from Mash, Magic, and Muscles. I'm not sure if those are either intentional. I highly doubt it. But just like the bowl cut, the look, everything about him, especially the villainous. Well, to be fair, Mash is not villainous at all. But villainous at all. But still, his design, like, clicked both of those two into my head at the same time. I was like, whoa, whiplash. What manga am I reading? But regardless of this, I'm glad that what we're here for, what he's here for, is this. He pulls up on another lady. He's like, yo, you know what time it is, baby girl? We got our instructions. And she just asks her some question like, all right, what do we do now then? So apparently, these are people planted by All For One in order to not necessarily cause any rampant damage. Like, they aren't going to send the prison, or not the prison, well, prison, the living space, they're not going to send it into chaos, they're going to destroy buildings or anything like that, but they're going to, quote unquote, cause a ruckus and stir up any resentment towards heroes. So essentially, they're just going to make the people living there a lot more difficult to guide and operate with in case of an emergency. So what this does for me is hype me up to believe that All For One is doing what I've been wanting him to do. He's going to use UA as essentially a gigantic hostage situation, because reasonably, he knows exactly where it is, for one, and two, everyone is here, and I'm not talking Smash Bros. Like, all the kids' parents are at UA, and sure, there is a defense system, but as I've expressed numerous times in the past, I don't think this defense system, it's not Shigaraki level. Let's just say that. As cool as it seems to be, I'm confident if Shigaraki is half as powerful as he's supposed to be, even with his nebulous nerf from Stars and Stripes, he's still a bit too much for this whole area to handle. And especially if people are not coordinating well, if they're just causing mayhem because they don't trust the heroes and they're under attack and they're scared and they're freaking out, then it'll be even easier for Shigaraki to, like, fight against the defenses, take these as a hostage, and then put the heroes in a catch-22, because obviously they don't want to sacrifice the people. Meanwhile, Shigaraki is more than happy to sacrifice the people. That's really, really good. I'm glad All For One and his 15 different plans ahead self is thinking of something like that. And it's cool that he has multiple plans too, right? Because the big thing was always, well, we have the UA trader, but who else is out there working for All for One? And we get to see 5 people in the chat. We get to see the original Berkut / Mash looking dude. We get to see this lady. We get to see an older woman. We get to see a tiger man or a cheetah man. And we get to see another person. And apparently a sub goal to this, well, maybe not a sub goal, but the actual goal, like the whole thing of them being harder to work with, so if All for One attacks, they become a massive hostage situation. That's something that I came up with. That seems to be like a good complementary thing to this whole scenario that could come out of it. But the actual reasoning is that it's weird, right? Because All for One doesn't want Midori to be able to return to that place. Like, that's the main goal of having them cause a disruption. But like, until the war was over, like, I mean, unless this like is a real multi-day war type thing, like genuinely long term, I'm not sure any comparisons make it to, so I'm not going to. But like, unless it's a multi-day affair, it doesn't matter who's not going to be able to return to this place. Either Midori's going to end up dead, and or he won, so of course he's going to be able to return. Like, I'm not exactly sure what that base purpose is, which is why I think All for One, he may have lied to them. I know he has no reason to, but at least the motivation of Izuku Midoriya will no longer be able to return to that place. It doesn't necessarily make sense. But who knows? Maybe I'm just writing. Maybe I'm writing for Horikoshi here. So who knows? But of course, we cut over to the students, and they're coming back in from a long day of nothing. Well, not nothing, but essentially they were out in the world doing their due, trying to find All for One, and of course they couldn't. If all the pro heroes couldn't find All for One, adding 20 more novice kids, some of whom don't necessarily have the best movement abilities. Like, I'm not sure what Kirishima was doing. Was he just sprinting around a selected area looking for All for One? Like, I'll give Asui. She can jump very far distances and probably clear pretty decently. Obviously, Ida. I'd say maybe Todoroki by using ice flumes. Bakugo could be flying through the air. Midoriya, obviously, one for all. Like, there are some people who can move. But a majority of Class 1A, I'd say like at least 66% of them are kind of landlocked for the most part, and probably wouldn't be the best at searching. Like, the dude who collapses in this case, Kaminari, what good was he going to do? Other than, well, fighting villains is one thing. That's the thing, right? But the main goal for them is to look for All for One. Like, as Kirishima, well, All for One and Survivors. So I guess it's fine, right? Because they're looking for All for One and Survivors. But the main goal would be to find All for One before he can hatch. But as Kirishima notes, the search area is just way too big. Like, there's no feasible way that they could all cover it in a reasonable time period. And they're getting this nice little temporary breaks so they can rest up before going back out there. And we see Ito walk up and he's being best boy. And he's like, yo, chill out, take a nap, rest, because we're going to get back at it pretty quickly. Everything we do right now is essentially the best way to optimize our strength. And if we do not optimize it well enough, we're going to be crushed in this war. And I love how Bakugo's, he actually agrees with Ida here, but it's mainly just he wants to get stronger. And obviously, if your muscles aren't getting the rest they need, they are going to get stronger. And then, like, Mineta, I try to defend you, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a Mineta stan, if you will, but I don't think he's like the blight on the series that everyone says he is. At times, sometimes I wonder how Horikoshi gets away with this stuff. Like, I wonder how his editors let some of this stuff slide. But for Mineta's only line in this chapter to be, nope. What's a Mineta voice? I can't necessarily think of. I wanted even just a little bit of free time to talk about some dirty stuff. Like, why was that his only line? I'll give Midori credit, though. He instantly rebuffs it with a quick, I'll pass on that. However, it would be nice to have more free time. So, it's end of series, right? Like, I mean, Mineta already had his own little arc way back with Midnight. She's dead, though. But regardless, I'm kind of indifferent, because I remember a big thing that was going around. I'm not sure if it was ever confirmed, because that's the thing. I don't remember ever seeing the interview, but I remember Horikoshi saying he wanted to give, like, every single character in 1A their big own moment, like their own little thing where they would culminate character-wise, and we would have this big memorable moment for them. But obviously, with the series ending within the year, that's not going to happen. So I guess sticking people to their caricatures as they were up to this point is fine. So I'm not about to complain about Mineta being like this. It's just, I wish there was more. But of course, the thought of not being able to have that much time to talk or spend with people clicks in Midoriya's head. Is like, wait, yeah, we haven't even had a chance to talk to one another just yet because of how busy we've been. And he notices Uraraka, and the idea of what she did for him comes into mind. And once again, I did slander her for this because she did not do it herself, unfortunately. I love teamwork, right? Like, teamwork's amazing. Teamwork is great, but there's something about solo victories that just hit different, right? Like, do you remember the random Leaf Shinobi that helped beat Pain? No, you remember Naruto beat Pain, right? Do you remember who beat Frieza? Who beat Frieza? Was it Piccolo, Vegeta, Gohan, Krill? It was Goku. Goku beat Frieza. Like, the end result is what sticks to me. Who beat Cell? Was it Trunks, Piccolo? Like I'm just trying to think of like common examples. So that's why I feel like Uraraka not getting the full kill there, and it sounds bad. Like, I mean, it's not like she's killing anybody. She's a rescue here. She wouldn't do that, unfortunately. But Uraraka not being able to convince the people and needing the random die, I get it. Narratively wise. It makes sense that a civilian would convince civilians. It's cool that it's a civilian from the past that we recognize, and it's great. He's from Chapter 1. It's a Chapter 1 reference. All of it's really, really cool. Still don't like it. Still don't like it because it takes away from Uraraka, who's desperate, like fiend, like foaming at the mouth. Or at least, no, she's not desperate. And neither is Horikoshi, obviously. I'm desperate. I'm fiending. I want Uraraka to have a moment onto her own that doesn't involve, and like, even if it has to involve Midoriya, let her do it herself and let her succeed on her own, but it just can't happen. But of course, Midoriya still has to thank her for it. I'm sorry for the long-winded tangent. This happens every single time, because I feel bad because I want to explain myself, because I know not everyone watches all my videos, so they don't know like the deep and relevant conflicts that go on in my head when I talk about this character. But we see that Midoriya needs to go thank her. But of course, then we get this disgust, like, Horikoshi, love you as an artist, man. You are insane. Best, one of the best in the game. There are only 2 artists that are currently running in Shonen Jump that I'd say are on the same level and or better than Horikoshi. And let me just make sure I say this. I'm literally going to open up the Shonen Jump page as I go to talk about this, because I don't want to be wrong. Like, the only mangaka that I'd say on weekly Shonen Jump specifically, because I do admit some monthly manga are kind of busting. But in terms of just like raw artistic quality, like, blows me away week by week without fail, I say the only competition that Horikoshi has is Blue Box, because the mangaka of Blue Box is insane, and like the sheer chef's kiss level detail in that manga is just beautiful to me. And obviously Dr. Stone. Like, Dr. Stone is the only one that I'll say is like, I will legit put a peg above Horikoshi just because of how amazingly stylized it is and how great the art is. But no, Horikoshi, obviously big time demon in the artistic mangaka world. The man is just a menace at what he does, and it's amazing to read, watch, consume, and try to replicate. I usually try to metify the drawings. Like, I try to pretend that they're in their own separate universe and you're just watching them along with the review. But you may see, I'm not sure where relative to the drawing, but I struggle with Horikoshi's art style a lot just because of how amazingly stylized it is and how specific he is at it. Like, I've tried to replicate and I just fail a lot. But of course, All Might's here. I just hate the way he, like, that one I am here. I want to fix him. Like, I don't know what Horikoshi did. I get it. He's angular. But it just looks so, like, nothing in that drawing works for me. And I'm not going to lie. Maybe it's just because I've been consuming way too much Fire Force. But I was so convinced something was wrong with Nezu's eye when I looked at it. Like, even looking at it now, it's throwing me off mentally. Just because of how off it looks. But I love how Namasa is just so tired of everything. Like, that's my favorite thing. Namasa is the only regular dude here. Like, actually just straight regular, degular homeboy. No quirk, no superpowers, no investment, no nothing. The man hasn't had time to shave. He's just sitting there struggling in life. And I completely respect that. And of course, we get to see that while Jiro believes that All Might's looking pretty darn excited for, wartime scenarios, All Might, despite pumping his arms and being all energized, is like, you couldn't be more wrong. And it makes sense. Obviously, no one wants this second war, but it's something you have to prepare for. It's inevitable, essentially, on that Thanos type beat. So I do appreciate that what All Might is essentially doing here by being so energetic, being so loud, being so forthright, is he's trying to still give the students energy and some form of hope, but he's not going to lie to them. It's essentially like, even though you know you're tired, you got 2 hours of sleep last night, you're struggling, but you know the people are out there are depending on you to be something that they expect of you. You got to do that. That's great. But obviously, you aren't going to lie to the people. Really, really good. I like that. Once again, much more it's weirdly spoken, right? but it's more unspoken storytelling what All Might is trying to be, and that's good. I like the little subtle stuff, the stuff I can extrapolate, even if it's not there. If I'm just reading into it too much, then I do that. Be like, they want to be like that sometimes. But of course, we get to see everyone's a little bit confused that, wait, why are y'all back so soon? And the question becomes, it's like, oh, must be about Aoyama's situation, right? And now Masa, he does this interesting thing, right? He just raises one finger, and in order to continue off of that, All Might backpacks and like, yeah, we need to tell you about a little juicy bit of information. We come to tell you about the finalized plans for the second war. And wartime, baby. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I like the original Paranormal Liberation Front War, but something about it, like, I made a whole review on it, and I think I actually literally deleted the audio for like the super review. But I think I may, if I ever do collab, if anyone, it sounds weird to offer like this, but if anyone wants to collab on an entire war arc review, because I would love to talk about that with somebody else. I think my only issue with it is that it felt a little bit too disconnected and a little bit too crazy, because it was so good. That's for good reason. It was pretty unexpected. No one knew what was going to happen, but at the same time, it led to hard storytelling. So I'm intrigued and hopeful to see where we go from here. And now I look at it, oh no, it was there before too. That's good artistic detail. I just never noticed. I mean, I had a little stem on his head. But I mean, anyway, I'm excited. There are plans for the second war, even though it doesn't make sense for them to have plans because it's all on All for One. These are probably just contingency plans though. So super excited. And then we just get like a little voiceless montage of everyone talking together. We see Hawks with his wings just still struggling to grow back in. He has a whole ton of sheets of paper in his hand, like they're going over the plans. They're sitting in some abandoned building, you know, a nice little secret meeting spot. Ragdoll's there, assumedly explaining her quirk. That was the thing that was brought up when I critiqued her being there. But hey, who knows? She probably, like you guys mentioned, she probably does have just a more in-depth knowledge of her quirk compared to most others, and thusly it would be good for her to be there to explain the intricacies of it. However, it'd be oddly hilarious. That's the thing we don't know what Stars and Stripes got rid of. It would be oddly hilarious if Search was just gone, right? Like if Search was gone from Stars and Stripes, from Stars and Stripes attack, and Shigaraki didn't even have it anymore, and thusly they invited her here and did all that for nothing. And it'd be doubly hilarious if she was just a plant, or like not even intentionally. I'm not saying like she's a traitor or anything. That'd be cool though. But if she was like, due to All for One taking her quirk, she believed that she's now quirkless, but she just has like a recording quirk or a monitoring quirk that's broadcasting all the information. Oh my. That's broadcasting all the information to All for One, so he's prepared for all the plans anyway. That would be something. That'd be tricky. Like I wouldn't be shocked if Horikoshi did it, because he did plant the Lady Nagant quirk in there. So if he were to pull out that twist, I wouldn't even say it's unforeshadowed, because we've seen what happened with Nagant. You can plant quirks in people without them knowing, and they can be activated or controlled autonomously. So I'd be fine with that if that's why she's there, because it still is a little bit off to me. She literally could just send in an email, this is how my quirks works, but regardless, I said send in an email. There are probably barely any emails running right now. But of course we see Best Jeanist, and I love the little extra details, right? Because notably, Best Jeanist, he isn't in top form. His denim isn't the best it could be. It is still ripped because he has so little time to like get better and reform his stuff. I love how Endeavor still looks so tired and broken. And he's likely, like, the reason we get to zoom in on his eye that's like mostly closed and sad, because he's likely reading the plan that he has to do to take down his own son. He's not happy to do that, obviously, because he still loves Toya. And of course we get to see the whole hypothetical thing with Kurogiri and Aoyama, and I believe it was an Oceanus video. I consistently reference Oceanus. I want to actually talk to that dude. But regardless, he brings up a fact that I also critique My Hero Academia for. The whole Kurogiri narrative being locked in admittedly canon spin-off. It just makes me really wish it was just part of the modern narrative and was built up better. But of course, we can't really do that. We see Aoyama still locked up in a cell, possibly going to be used for something. Then we get to see Bakugo, Todoroki in the UA dorms, all that. And we get to see a really cool shot of Midoriya. I don't know why I really like this panel of him, but a deep-seated part of me was like, draw this. Like, so like I choose what I draw from a chapter essentially at random. Like sometimes I will pick a meme. Like I've drawn gag characters or like joke characters for some series, but at the same time, a lot of the times I like to draw character relevant stuff. So like this shot of Midoriya looking so serious was almost something that I chose to draw, but I held off. I restrained myself from it, and I just ended up fusing two drawings together. But then we get to see that the principal has announced something this morning, and this thing is that apparently Nezu revealed to the public, I guess it's to gain their trust, that Shigaraki Tomura will begin his assault in 4 days. And of course, the plant dude is like, what? And all the hero kids are like, well, thank you so much. We appreciate y'all letting us nap up here real quick, but we're getting out of here. And Koda, like, I'm slightly ingratiated into the fandom, and by slightly ingratiated, I literally just look at art and read fan fiction on occasion. You know, I'll admit. So I grow more attached to Koda through fan material than I have the main manga. But of course, it's always good to see him in the main manga, referring to him canonically as Big Bro Deku. Like he's really worried that he's leaving UA again. But Midoriya and the rest of the class is like, yep, thank you so much. I've already been given enough time to get on my feet. Thank you for letting me be here. I'm out. Deuces. And we see that Snipe, he brings up the whole fact that, hey, your safety is our number one priority. Worst comes to worst, the bad things happen. Just stay calm, stay still. We're gonna go. All right. But of course, Plant Dude is like, you fool. I can't even imagine, because this dude doesn't look like he'd have this kind of voice, but I can just imagine him going, you fool, what a naive idiot. All you want to do is shut your mouth and let UA protect you. By leaving this place, you're just making things easier for him. And yes and no, like, Midoriya planting himself here is, like, it's kind of an optimal solution because he can defend all the people there easier, right? But then at the same time, as you play this double-minded game, if Midoriya is just out and about wandering, then that means All For One can't hunt him down directly. It's a catch-22 for both of them, right? Because All For One essentially, well, I'd say it's more in All For One's favor because he can just hold UA hostage. Midoriya has no hostage situation he can take advantage of, and he has no way to draw All For One to his area. He's always going to be chasing down All For One anyway. But so I mean, maybe the guy has a point, because if my theory is correct that he's going to use this place as a hostage scenario, leaving and not being able to defend the people directly is a lot better for All For One than Midoriya staying there, I suppose. But of course, we get to see all the canon fodder. No, I'm kidding. We get to see Midoriya hugging his mom. You know, the Inko Midoriya stuff, like, that's good. I'm glad that we get to see the rest of the Todoroki family talking with Todoroki real quick. Like, I love that Natsuo, Rei, and Fuyumi are all there supporting him right before he goes off to go save their final brother. Hope he kills. No, I'm kidding. I don't think Nabi should be saved. Well, I'll get into that in a little bit. But we get to see Araka and Jiro say goodbye to their respective families. We get to see Nezu, ironically enough. Is he saying goodbye to Recovery Girl, or is she just leaving with, I'm not sure. But we get to see Bakugo getting a nice goodbye from his family. I guess, does Shoji not have parents? I mean, like, I get it. We need to see this girl because she's like she's a representation for all mutants in the My Hero Academia world. And Shoji is a representation in 1A for all mutants in the My Hero Academia world. So him shaking her hand and like sending her off, it's something necessary, but dude, is he an orphan and just forgot? I could have sworn I don't think we've ever seen him, but I could have sworn the man had parents. Hold on. Update. I don't know. I just quickly like control F the wiki. I'm not going to read the entire wiki. I'm not going to go back through the entire manga to go look for him. But darn it, man, don't you have parents? But of course, this is a mix of our important characters saying goodbye. Because notably, look who we're seeing. We're seeing Todoroki, essentially our side main character. We're seeing Midoriya, our main character. We're seeing Uraraka, our main girl. And we're seeing Nezu? I don't know. But we're seeing Present Mike, one of our main heroes for right now, and we're seeing Midoriya saying goodbye to our two plot devices. Well, no, our one plot device and Koda in Eri and Koda. But like, we're seeing the important things that matter, all the important relevant plot points, and we're seeing civilians saying goodbye. And it's the dude from chapter 1. Like, this little section right here, this little beefy chunk of panels or mini panels and stuff like that, it's meant to cover essentially the entire heroic / civilian side of the narrative so far. And it does a good job at that. Even if I think Silly should be saying goodbye to his parents. I'm not taking points off of that. I'm not saying it's bad, but just just blows me away. Well, regardless, we get to see at approximately 30 kilometers away from UA, which is kind of weird. No, that's a destroyed city. It makes sense. But we're seeing that it didn't even matter. Like, the dude went through all that only for Midoriya to have a new stronghold, and safe house. Sorry, I'm dumb. But regardless, the prototype stronghold Troy. And I think this is cool. This is what was in the background of the May chapter, right? I think this was mentioned in the May chapter. So that is cool build-up. And if I'm just misremembering that, fine. I'm still going to give Horikoshi the points for it. But apparently, thanks to Cementos, Ectoplasm, and Power Loader, they're able to build fortified structures pretty quickly. And that is a cool combination of powers. They're able to use all that together to build stuff like this. And while apparently it's not as robust as UA, it's safe enough that they can live and take a good beating in. And of course, Snipe is like, "Ayo, drop your stuff off, get your guts ready. We going out there to cause some damage." And I appreciate that. Like, Snipe is straightforward and to the point. I'm glad he's still around. Hopefully he can actually shoot Shigaraki properly this time. But of course, I love how Sero's so dejected. He's like, didn't think I'd die here, but it's not the worst way to go. Masato's like, wait, don't say things like that. Hopefully, am I praying on the downfall of anyone in class? I'm not praying on anyone's particular downfall. Like, if no one dies, it's whatever. I prefer no one dying to like the route where everyone dies, because it just feels unfulfilling. So I don't know. I'm not necessarily praying for anyone to die, so it's fine. But of course, we get to see Midoriya chilling in his room off the balcony. He sees Uraraka standing perplexed, watching over the city. And once again, like, it's just the little things I love about slightly superhuman. Well, Midoriya is more than slightly superhuman, but superhuman characters just being superhuman. Like, Midoriya was on a balcony that you can't see in the original establishing shot. He was on a balcony, likely pretty high up, and he just leaps down because he can. He literally just activates full cowling, drops, perfectly fine. I would love to be able to do something like that. Like, if I could just leap off the roof of a building and land or Spider-Man swing somewhere with pure confidence, that'd be amazing. I'd love to do that just because of the feeling. But of course, we get to see Midoriya is following up on his little promise that he made earlier about like thanking Uraraka for what she did, and he pulls up and he's like, "Yo." I love how he starts up small talk, right? Because he's not the kind of dude to just leap into that. So he gets this nice little conversation going. They have a nice little quiet moment together where they're both staring over the city. Well, to be fair, Uraraka's staring over the city, and he's more so looking at her. And he finally says, "Hey, thank you for back then." And he explains how he didn't get a chance to thank her properly, and so on and so forth. And Uraraka doesn't make a big deal out of it, and like, it's fine, whatever. But of course, she's flustered because he's getting complimented by her hero. It's fine. I'm not saying that to y'all. I'm saying that to me. But we get Midoriya now, after thanking her, being like, "Oh, well, now that we're here, now that I've gotten that off my chest, well, what are you doing here?" And Uraraka's like, "Oh, just watching the city." And I would have preferred if we stopped right there. Like, if we had hard paused right there in the chapter. How many pages are we in? We 14 pages. This is as long as some chapters are anyway. Cut the chapter right here. I would have been perfectly fine with that. But then we gotta continue. And here we go. Let me fix my chair. Uraraka goes on to say, I'm quite the useless character. No, I'm kidding. I'm quite the bad character. No, I'm kidding. But Uraraka's like, I'm quite the oddball. And Midoriya goes to White Knight for his queen and be like, "No, you're not. You're strong. You're passionate. You're amazing. Your hair." I love how he goes straight. Like, he has no examples of her being strong and compassionate. No, I'm kidding. But he has no examples of like her being a competent fighter or anything like you would compliment. I mean, no, being good and compassionate is good compliments. So I guess he just wants to ramble off a whole list. So he goes to, "Your hairstyle suits you." Like, I guess. The bob cut be smacking for Uraraka specifically, I suppose. But that's, once again, Deku being awkward. And I'm fine with that. But of course, we see Uraraka, like, brushing that off, even though she's blushing again, obviously, because she's being complimented again. Do I admit this? Will I get attacked for this? YouTube doesn't have a dislike button anymore anyway. I'm more of a Bakuraka shipper myself, but once again, that's more due to the fandom than the actual manga. I'm not necessarily deeply invested in Bakuraka manga-wise. I just think what the fandom has done with it has made it more enticing enough to me that I feel like that hypothetical relationship is more entertaining than the Dekuraka ship. But I know I'm opening up a huge can of worms saying anything about shipping. Please don't ban me. Just don't attack me in the comment section. Ship whatever you want. I don't care. But if you want to know my stance. But of course, this is our endgame ship, and we see that Uraraka is explaining how when she was yelling at the top of the building, we're getting a quick explanation for that moment where she saw Toga's face. And we get to see that Uraraka is regretting what she said to Toga during the Gigantomachia attack. And it's because her face twisted into the most sorrowful expression she had ever seen. And I can't be like, Orikoshi, what kind of story are you trying to tell here? Because this doesn't make sense to me. I hate to say it. Like, this is one thing, it's just like the one All Might picture. It does not compute. All right, like, it's the same issue I have with Batman at times. Like, a lot of the times. I'll talk about Batman in his own video. But the idea, right? Uraraka, just like Midoriya said all the way back when he resolved to not kill Shigaraki but save that child. She says, the city has been now reduced to this. So many lives have been stolen by the villains. What the League has done is irredeemable. However, I get that. I just didn't understand what she believed. Regardless, she says, regardless of the fact that they're all mass murderers, and you literally yelled at her for being a mass murderer, she's essentially trying. The long story short, she wants to save her. That's the thing, right? Because she goes on to say she didn't understand that despite the fact that they're all mass murdering criminals who have caused the destruction of the world as we know it. She says, "Oh, I don't know anything about Toga Himiko at all. Why should you? Why do you care? Like, this is just a weird thing to me, right? Like, I would go out of my way. Say someone like was caught shoplifting, right? And they were shoplifting like baby food or something, anything like something unaffordable, right? Like, say they needed something to live, like food, water. I get that because everyone deserves basic human necessities, right? Like, that's just something everyone deserves to live. But if I ran into a serial killer and suddenly they look sad because I didn't agree with their murderous rampage tactics and lifestyle, I don't care what led you to this. I'm not gonna lie. I don't care what. I don't want to know how your mind functions. In fact, I feel like I'd be disturbed by it. I wouldn't try to sympathize. I wouldn't try to save you. I'm sorry. That's not my prerogative. And I feel like this stretch that Horikoshi's going with it, like he's reaching to the heavens, Garnier, with this whole idea that both Uraraka wants to save Toga. Because here's the thing, like, Uraraka's half right. Because she goes on to say, that's why I'm gazing out the city. So I won't ever forget the damage and destruction they cause. So I won't think of ever such stupid things ever again. And I agree, you shouldn't. Because these things are stupid. Well, like, regardless of what her beliefs are, her actions speak louder than whatever words she could hypothetically ever tell you. I could never look at a monster like that in the eyes and be like, you know what? You deserve a second. No. All the people you slaughtered deserve to live. All the lives you ruined deserve to be lived before you can just go and get your little happy ending. Like, maybe that's just me being too vindictive or something like that. Maybe I'm just not that good of a person. Who knows? But legitimately, tell me in the comment section down below. Like, I always ask y'all to comment. But this is a legitimate question. Pencil to y'all. Put it in the comments. If you were in Uraraka's situation, would these thoughts be crossing your mind? Do you care what Toga thinks after she's tried to kill you and your friends on multiple occasions and has succeeded in killing multiple people on multiple occasions, fully willingly? Toga's not under any pressure. She's not in a hostage situation. She's just a killer. She's a murderer. Same thing with what same thing with what Midori goes on to say about Shigaraki. Because while Uraraka is trying to clear her mind of this idiocy, Midoriya's like, oh no, I get you. I saw the little boy crying wistfully inside Tomura Shigaraki. Even though our conflict is unavoidable, I don't want to ignore that side of him. That side of him doesn't matter. Like, is that wrong of me to say? Like, inside every monster is a crying child. I don't care about the child anymore. I care about the monster. Like, sure, I will worry about the societal implications that led to these monsters being created. I will not worry about the monster themselves. Like, I will feel. I'll take that. I'll take that on the chin. I know what that means, but still, I will let that one slide. I will just have to say, hey, I'm sorry you ended up this way. Not really. Well, no, I am. I'm sorry you ended up this way because this is how the world is structured, and you just got the bad luck of the draw. But you killed a whole bunch of people, so I'm gonna have to end you. Like, I'm not forgiving you because you're a monster. I'm not gonna entertain any ideas of sparing you, and I'm not gonna try to appeal to whatever humanity you have because you sacrificed that about 1,000 lives ago, about hundreds of people ago, like my life ago, like my broken bones. Like, I'm not in a sparing kind of mood anymore. I'm sorry, you have to go. I don't see it. That's why I'm asking you, if you are in Midoriya or Uraraka's situation, do you care about the child you saw? Do you care about the sad face the murderer made? Sorry, let me make it a clear, decisive thing, right? Fitting in the context without any of my obvious bias. If you are in the case of Uraraka Ochako and Midoriya Izuku, where you each have a specific villain that you have full information of has slaughtered many people and has ruined the lives of many and has caused the destruction of the world as you know it, but you know that these people do have stories behind them that you don't know about, and you also know that these people do have this, maybe a crying child inside of them, or like some manner of innocence buried beneath the monster, do you care? Would you go out of your way to risk your life to try and save them? Risk your life and others. Would you do that? Just let me know. Well, you know my answer. You obviously know it. My answer is no. They gotta go. I hate to say it. But no, I don't. I don't hate to say it. They gotta go. But that's my thought. Please tell me your thoughts in the comments section down below. But of course, this isn't the end of the chapter. And we see that while our main girl and main guy are out there doing their talk, Todoroki's still out here worrying about the fact that he has to carry the B pod in the narrative, which is the whole Todoroki family. And Ida's trying to sympathize with them because he's essentially in conversation. I like this group, right? Ida, Todoroki, and Bakugo. With Kirishima on the side. They're like, yo. I love how Todoroki's apologizing, right? Like, he's like, sorry for making you guys worry. I'm all fine now. I'm good to go. But Ida's like sympathizing with him. He's like, no, don't worry. I understand. I have a brother too. I could never imagine being in a situation like yours. You're in a really tough spot. But Todoroki's like, yo, not gonna lie, I can't even compare to you. Like, I have no idea about anything about my brother. But he still is my brother. But of course, Bakugo, in the Bakugo way, right? He still believes, he believes there's a connecting point in family, right? He's like, yo, I bet you $1 million that self-boiling freak loves udon. And Todoroki, taking that nice little last happy piece of resolve with him in his heart, is like, yeah, I wouldn't mind going to dinner sometime with him. Also not rocking with that. Like, Dabi is insane, bro. Like, he literally tried to kill you as a baby when he was 5. Maybe, no, he was older than that, right? I forget how old he was. Regardless. That's different, though. Like, but he doesn't know anything about it. Like, if I had that's the question, right? If I had a long lost brother, because I don't know, I don't remember from anything. Like, I think Toya disappeared around Todoroki when he was age 4 or so, or 4 or 5. I don't remember much from that time. So as a teenager, but then again, I'm not a teenager. I'm not the same age as Todoroki. So would I care? Like, that's like finding out you have a long lost brother who happened to also commit multiple heinous acts. Are you gonna suddenly claim him? I don't know. I don't think I would. I think I'd be like, darn, that's crazy. I'm glad he's estranged. But who knows? Maybe I'm just mentally disconnected. Like, I also don't kind of agree with saving Dabi. But of course, the unified thought between all three of them is, we'll stop them. And no, it should be, you'll kill them. But of course, that's the end of the calm before the storm. And All for One ends the chapter with a quite ominous, let's get started, shall we? And of course, the operation begins today. And that means next time, Heroes versus villains. Preparations for the second war are ramping up. Oh, it's not even over. What? I just read the text at the bottom. Next time, heroes versus villains preparations. Preparations for the second war are ramping up. So maybe it is. But regardless, I feel this thing is a pretty cool chapter. Like ignoring my biases against the lack of logic in this chapter, it's perfectly told. It's a 10 out of 10 chapter. I'm just still going to give it like a 7 out of 10 though, because I feel like all three of our characters who are trying to spare these mass murderers just don't make sense. That's the only thing. However, those are my thoughts on the chapter. Please leave your thoughts on the chapter in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you hit that little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, you'll have a Patreon down below, and I'd appreciate any support you're willing to give. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is that guy with the pencil, writing off.